Politricks watch. This is Serpi. Now, you've heard me say it many times. It's a minority of 87s, a minority of youths, a minority of Jamaicans, right? Really, are cause the problem of the country when it comes down to murder rate. I'm going to give you the stats to back it up today. In order to make this video, right, when people say for conversation's sake, obviously I don't have access to all the data. I can only find things with it on public sites. So in order to make this video, I'm going to do something that is not actually going to hurt, right, the people who argue against what I'm saying, but help them. What I'm going to do to make this video, right, make sense to the people them, is to make some assumptions that will hurt my own argument. And even after making those assumptions, I'm still going to say, right, the point still stands. What assumptions may I talk about? Now, Jamaica average about 1,300 murders a year. That's a fact. Right? Around about 1,300. That's a fact. Still, that's not no opinion. But the argument, right, that the Jamaican youths, like people make it sound like Jamaican youths are going through this murder epidemic. Jamaican youths just murder everything them say because youth unemployment and unemployment as a whole is so high and poverty as a whole is so high. They make it sound like the average Jamaican youth walking around, right, is like this ruthless gunman. Even in a clans, even in a one order, even a 5150, even in a down thugs. Most of these gangs, even the biggest gangs, them only have about 30 to 40 active shooters. I will show you the numbers today. I went on the side, government side, to check the stats. I wanted to see, right, the amount of people in Jamaica who are between the ages of 15 to 24, which is what is considered the youth. When you people talk about youth, they matter about 15 to 24. I also want to check 15 to 54. It's safe to assume that the vast majority of murders in Jamaica are between 15 and 54. Youth, right, who we know say play a major role in a crime, 15 to 24. I wanted to see the population, right? I want to see the numbers, right, for them group there. Here's the assumption to make. I'm going to ignore female killers. I'm going to attribute every murder in Jamaica to men. Right, that's not true, but for the sake of this video, right, I'm going to attribute every single murder in Jamaica to just men. So I check the stats, check the numbers. Population of Jamaica, right, men 15 to 54 and men 15 to 24. The latest I see on the government site was 2019. Now, as you can see, populations don't drastically change in a 3-4 years, so those numbers are still relevant. When time I do the calculations, we get to realize that when you check those 15 to 54, there's about 811,000 men who fall in that age group. 15 to 54, males, about 811,000. When you check for males only, 15 to 24, that figure is about 246,000. Right? We're rounding up the numbers then for the sake of conversation. Because I know a list of people that listen now right down in a classroom. 811,000. That's every man, 15 to 54. Jamaica average 1,300 murders a year. When you work out the percentage for that, right, 1,300 divided by 811,000 multiplied by 100, you get 0.16%. Let me say that again. You get 0.16%. That's total murders. Here's the assumptions. We give one man, one victim. Remember, this doesn't help my argument, it hurt it. Right? But we give one man, one victim. We know that that's not the case. We know that it's actually one man will have like 5, 6, 7, some have all 20 victims. Right? But for the sake of conversation, I'm going to give one man, one killer, one victim every year. So 1,300 murderers every year. That work out to 0.16%. Less than 1% of men. When I tell you it's a tiny minority responsible for all of the foolishness, this is not an opinion, it's a fact. But look, I break it down for you. You might say, but 15 to 54, that's kind of broad. Well, I use that number because that would include the 87, the 90, and the 116. Most of them would fall in that group then. But forget about the quote-unquote bigger man them that age. We could talk about the youth. When time you calculate, or when you check the population size, youths 15 to 24, males only, no kerosene, nothing. It's about 246,000. There are currently about 246,000 quote-unquote male youths in Jamaica. Make we attribute all 1,300 murders to them. Again, these assumptions does not help my argument, it hurts it. But even when it hurts my argument, just look on the results. So we are saying, you know what, only youth, males, 15 to 24, well, every year I kill people in Jamaica. So we then put the same 1,300, we'll divide it by 246,000, which is the amount of people, amount of males in that age range, multiplied by 100. You know what we get? We know what 0.52. 0.52%, we're still under 1%. Less than 1% of youths in Jamaica are murder people annually. Let me say that again. Less than 1%, 0.52%. And this is giving the youths them every single murder. We include domestic violence, we include contract hits, we include everything. We are put it on one demographic, 15 to 24, which we know is false. We know say youths 15 to 24 do not kill everybody in Jamaica every year. But me even I hurt my own argument and it still can't add up. Even when I hurt my own argument by attributing everything to males, right, in this age demographic, it still go under 1%. Extraordinary figures, no? The way people talk about the youths, them no work, and the youths, them if they have money, yeah, that's true. Say it's like 10, 20, 30% of youths, right? Less than 1% annually. Using the same 246,000, we're going to put things in a context for now. Sorry, I try to explain it so even the man who didn't go to school can understand. Because we understand it go in Jamaica. Some people never get the chance to go to a big school. Some people have to stay home and tie out boat. Or stay home and raise them younger siblings. We understand. We don't look down on people for them education. So let me explain something to you. Right. Let me give them the context. 246,000 male youths in Jamaica, age 15 to 24. If 10% of them youth there were killers, annually, you know how much murder Jamaica would have annually? 10% of them go kill people every year. You know how many murders Jamaica would have? 24,600. Let me say that again. I want to understand me, you know. I gotta show me that this youth crisis of the youth, all of the youths them just no work and the money and the youths them are killed. If 10% of Jamaica's youth, just 10%, were killing people annually, Jamaica would have 24,600 murders every year. Jamaica have 1,300 murders every year. The overwhelming majority of male youths, 99%, upwards of 99%, are not killers annually. It's a minority of youths who spike the crime rate. This is why social intervention and spending for cut back on murders doesn't work. Because this small minority, economic factors don't play no role for them. Right. When the man who fight tit for tat gang war, kill back man, and can't catch squawk, whether them have money, whether them broke, I'm gonna kill them. These gang wars spiral consistently every year, regardless of what's going on in the economy. But just the article with you. Right. I think it was last year Jamaica had the lowest unemployment rate in history. 2021, I'm going to double check if it's 2021 or 2020. Well, 2021, because 2020 was very high. Jamaica had just over 7% unemployment. That is the lowest in history. In other words, at no point since 62, more people been employed. Never happened. And Jamaica had over 1,450 murders. In the same year, we had the lowest unemployment in history. Because the youths them want to fight these gang wars. Whether you could have find all the job you want to find, they're not going to take it up. The youth them from the main 87s in a KlLAZ and one other and 5150 and all these various gangs. What you think I'm gonna do? Oh, where you say work I go on? Alright, time to stop kill, I'm gonna take up on work. That's not how it go. Once them start kill, them get known as killers, them enemies them, I hunt them and them I hunt them enemies. They will not stop to go look work down at TSTs or look on work round so. Cause money go down there, go lick off them head top. Ask Dooley what happen when you go baptize, get wife and pitney, and go get work. And go start make an honest living after being 87. What happen? The man them and bust out the head top. And that's how badness go. You don't just, alright, time to stop and go look on work. This is why work and unemployment and economic factors play no role in reducing crime in Jamaica. As a matter of fact, when them get money, them become even more dangerous because now them can buy more gun, buy more shot, and they can now compete with them rivals. Matter of fact, enough people in Jamaica only alive because the people who want them dead are the money. If they have money for buy a gun and buy a shot, or if they hire a man for the contract it, numbers of that spike. You understand what I mean now? By a minority of youths, even the baddest, even the most brutal gangs, when they ask who killed who, are the same name them. Even the biggest gangs they can think of in Mobile is not no 5,000 youths that kill nobody. If that was the case, if 5,000 killers in that Mobile right now, Jamaica's murder, it wouldn't be no 150, 160 murders in St. James. It would be thousands of murders in St. James. It's a small minority of youths committing the majority of murders over and over. And this is me attributing everything to the quote-unquote youths. You see the security minister say, based on where them, for them data, 40% of all murders are attributed to the quote-unquote youths. 40%. So if you take the 40% of the 1,300, that's 520. 520 murders should be attributed to the quote-unquote youth. Now if you were to put that 520, divide that by 246,000, multiply by 100, now you're down to 0.2%. 0.2%. No matter how you do the maths, you can't go over 1%. Less than 1% of youth in Jamaica are actually killing people annually. And again, this is assuming it's one man committing one murder. We know, say, for example, you have youth like Scott from KlLAZ, over 30 had victims. Youths like Bigger Crime, them are dozens of victims. I'm giving it one man, one victim. No females, no older. I put everything upon the youths. When you say it don't add up. This everlasting economic crisis that is forcing all these youths to go kill, it simply doesn't add up. How big you think West Kingston is? Population wise. Enough people think so West Kingston is like 500 people, you know. There's 500 people, and then out of the 500, like 300 are murderers. That's not the case. West Kingston, according to the population census in 2011, West Kingston, total population was like over 26,000. I wonder if you realize, we're talking about places where have 20,000, 30,000 people, and I get like 100 murders for the year. It's a minority of youth killing in these places. The government is not tasked with stopping that gang 50,000 strong. The Jamaican government is not going up against the Suarez cartel. They're not going up against, right, the chopper bushman. They're going up against gangs, right, we have more gun than 87s. They're going up against gangs where the actual shooters them might just be 40, 50 youth in the gang. That's it. Right. Now when you're adding them support system like the kerosene and the whole links them, that number get bigger. But if we're talking about murders, if we want to stop murders and stop the shooters, right, the government is not tasked with dealing with no 50,000 youths. It's a minority of youths in Jamaica committing murders. This is why whenever you see youth unemployment go up, go down, go up, go down, murders still stay 1,300 and but the same youths them are killed over and over and over. And when time some of them drop, they get replaced on the conveyor belt by like-minded youths. People say, for example, the youths them hear this and then that have an influence for murder. It no mean say it caused it, but we are talking about a culture. Right? Because remember, Jamaica's murder rate, I say it many times, is influenced by its culture and its mindset. And culture, a whole heap of things make up culture. It's not no one thing. It's not just because him not a father. It's not just because him hear that song that it heavily influenced him and it sounds so cool and him want that. It's not just because him never, it's not no one thing, it's a culture. And a whole heap of things make up that culture. Just like a car. Tell all the time, look on crime like a car. Car no drive just cause of the engine, just cause of the transmission, just cause of the wheel then. You need a whole heap of things. You need a number of things together and then it move. Some all of that under culture and mindset. You know. Less than 1%. Even if you give everything to the youth, males, even if you give everything to males 15 to 54, it still can't go over 1%. It's a minority, a tiny minority. This everlasting crisis of youth murderers in Jamaica simply doesn't exist. Even in the garrison, even in the most highly acidic communities in Jamaica, it's a minority of youths that kill people. The majority of people in West Kingston, Central Kingston, Mobile, South St. Andrew are not killers. The numbers back that up. If they were annually, we would have seen some extraordinary figures in Jamaica. If it was 10% of youth in Jamaica that kill people annually, one each, we'd have over 24,000 murders. Anyway, I wish I could get the data, brought down much greater than this, but best we can do, we can find online. But I think I get the picture by now. Anyway, Patreon Squad, big up on myself. Yeah, you don't know, more live. Ultra Squad, stay circling, blessed.